beautiful! Today we'll be looking at the new Jouer, I cannot say this name, Jouer Cosmetics Setting Powder in the Radiant finish. So if you would like to see how this powder looks and if you would like to see a full day wear test of this powder, then just keep watching. I love making beauty product review videos for you, and I also love trying out new makeup, so if you're also into that, make sure to subscribe to this channel. And if you found that this video was helpful, make sure to like it, and I'm going to keep my intro short today. So let's go ahead and get started into this video. So for some reason, I kept thinking that this was a highlight. So I already set my face with the Patrick Starr's mattifying setting spray. This one right here, it's a new product. But I still feel, I mean, I'm actually quite dry, but there's still like a little bit of dewiness. So with that said, we will be testing out this product based on how well it like blurs the skin and just overall how it looks. So this is a pressed powder formula. It has a radiant finish. It's got hyaluronic acid, oil-free, vegan, without parabens. It says it's a luxurious demi-matte setting powder, so it should hydrate, smooth, blur, and perfect to give you a flawless finish without looking cakey or leaving skin dry. This style of packaging is definitely something that caught my eye. It has this really nice, elegant look. And this is my first time trying anything from this brand, so I am excited and it seems like it's going to be good. So the first thing I'm noticing is that this is very small, especially compared to all of my other compact powders. This thing is tiny. So, well, this is the bronzer, but the Gucci powder comes in the same style of packaging and it is huge in comparison. So that's the size of the powder in the Gucci compact. Yeah, pretty much all the other compact powders I have are a lot bigger than this. This contains 6 grams or 0.21 ounces. And then this one says, yeah, this one contains 12 grams and 0.42 ounces, although the Gucci one is more expensive. Yeah, all in all, because I have like my Fenty powder, those are loose powders. I don't have very many compact powders, but I do know that my compact powders in the past have been much larger than this one. This one is the Rimmel London one, fairly bigger. Anyways, I'm still excited. It's so cute. It's cute and tiny. I'm gonna go ahead and use a powder brush to apply this. So I do have powder underneath my eyes right here and along my nose, and I use that to bake. Okay. All right. I'm gonna kind of just let that sit for a little bit, and so we can compare the side with powder to the side without. Let me go ahead and zoom in. Okay, I'm going to look in my regular mirror now, in front of the mirror, or in front of the window. Wait, which side had it? This side. Okay. So the first thing I notice is that it is lightening up my skin a little bit. Even though it is translucent, it is kind of giving me more of a white cast on this side. And then another thing I'm noticing is that there are very, very tiny shimmers in it. And I'm assuming that is what's giving it that radiant look, which I'm not mad at. And if you're like from a distance, you can't see it whatsoever. It's just when you get really up close, you could see a little bit of shimmer. Okay. Now another thing I'm noticing, and this could be because I put a mattifying setting spray on top of my face, even though I didn't feel dry whatsoever. If anything, I still felt a little bit dewy. I feel it clinging on to dry skin, which is interesting because it says that it's hydrating, so I would think that it wouldn't cling on to any dryness. But maybe it's doing that because it's demi-matte, like it's semi-matte. Maybe that's why it's kind of clinging on to dry patches. So like right here around my chin area, I don't know if you could see, but I guess this part was like a little dry, and I feel like it's showing the dry patches a little bit more. Now another thing I'm noticing is that it definitely is blurring the skin, and so far I think that's my favorite part about this powder. And I feel like you can notice it too. This side just looks a little bit softer and more blurred out. It also covered up a little bit of my blush, which is fine. I could probably just pack some more blush on top. So overall, those are the few things I'm noticing instantly with this powder. And I think what I'm going to do is stick with it for a few more hours and see, you know, how well it controls the oil and how well it mixes with my foundation and other products. But so far, off first glance, I really do like it because, again, it's giving that blurry factor. If you want something completely translucent, I don't think you're going to get that with that powder because, like I said, it is making the side of my face a little bit lighter. Okay, here we are 8 hours later. If you hear noise in the background, it's because my dog is eating. And I have some really good things to say about this powder. So first, I'll mention 2 cons that I have. The first thing I'm noticing is that it does lighten up my skin a little bit. So if you're not into that, that is definitely a con. I'm not really bothered by it. As long as my complexion looks even, then I am totally fine with that. But I do wish it was more translucent and it didn't, you know, like there was no color to it whatsoever, and I can just keep my same complexion. But it could also be a good thing because it could also be smoothing out the skin even more by adding a little bit of color. I don't know. So the second thing I'm noticing is that, especially, like I said earlier, on the chin area, I do think this is going to cling on to dry patches. Also around here, I'm not sure why. I put concealer here, and it kind of looks like it's clinging onto that area as well. So I don't really know what's going on. It's overall not a huge issue for me because, like I said, I don't really suffer with dry skin. Occasionally I do. I have seasonal skin, but so far not a huge bother. And it's also something you tend to see when you look up really close in the mirror. So those are honestly the only 2 cons that I have. Now onto the pros of this. So one thing I am noticing is that it definitely does have and add that blurring effect, softening effect. I do feel like my skin has looked better as the day progressed, especially compared to when I first applied it. I was like, oh, okay, it's nice. But like after about an hour or so, I felt like it improved a lot. I really do like the radiance factor. I mean, that's pretty much what makes this powder different from the other powders. So if you don't want radiance, and you simply would just use the regular powder. But I personally really like it because I feel like it's really it really has added this like highlighting property to my skin, especially here around my forehead. I can see a lot of the radiance in that area. Now, another pro is how it is controlling the oil on my skin. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier in the video, but my skin has been more on the oily side lately, and I've been using the Giorgio Armani foundation, and that tends to make me a little bit oily throughout the day. Not too bad, but if anything, I could definitely feel my skin being more dewy. And by the end of the night, I do kind of have to touch up around the nose area especially. But with this powder, I am practically dry all over, like even around here. I'm not like 100% dry around here, but I'm like probably 99% dry around my nose area, and this is where it tends to get the most oily. But I am doing completely fine, not feeling the oiliness whatsoever. But at the same time, and I think this is why they call it a demi-matte or semi-matte, is because my face does not feel dry whatsoever. If anything, it still feels like a little dewy. It feels like 5% dewy, but when I touch my skin, everywhere is just completely dry. I did take some pictures. I will post them. And it says that it can help give you that like filter effect. And in one of the pictures I took, it generally does give that filter effect. Like you could see my skin looks really blurred in this picture. So I love that. And overall, I would have to say one of my favorite things about this powder is the way it looks on your skin. Like it just really smoothened out my skin. It adds that radiance to it. So at the end of the day, I absolutely love this powder. I have other favorite powders. I have the Laura Mercier powder, and I also have the Fenty powder. But I kind of feel like this might be just a smidge better, which is really hard for me to say. And I don't want to say that because the Fenty powder has been my like holy grail powder since it's just so. This is a Fenty powder, but I've been using this just for underneath my eyes. This is a banana powder. It's not translucent. So I've been using this underneath my eyes. I haven't really been using it all over my face lately. And then I also have my Gucci powder. And then, like I said, I have the Laura Mercier powder. I've stopped using the Laura Mercier, and I've just been using my Gucci powder. But, my friends, I'm going to be using the Jouer, I can't say the name. I'm going to be using this powder in replace of my Gucci powder because it looks so much better. Like I said, the only thing I probably would take away and remove from this powder is the whitening properties. I wish it was just completely translucent because my face looks a lot like, you could tell from my hands, it looks a lot lighter than the rest of my body. So yeah, I do hope they come out with just like a pure translucent shade, and then this honestly would be perfect. But then again, maybe that little hint of color is what is helping my skin to look more even and like kind of smoothened out. Anyways, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in another one. Bye.
Can't help but fall in love with you. I can't help but love the way you move.